take girls run up on me. They done. Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Yeah. Why check Castro, yeah, I need my ass. Why check Castro, yeah, I need my money line. Why check Castro, yeah, I need my money line. Why check Castro, yeah, I need my. check cash, yeah, and I need my money line. Why I check cash, yeah, and I need my money line. Why I check cash, yeah, and I need my money line. Watch out for those who surround you, need no funny kind. You can't see what's on my brain, I live inside my mind. Out of space and out of sight, you need me in my line. Need no face, don't need no.
And what is good? What is good, guys? Happy Friday. It is Friday today, and I'm here with you guys to officially go live today. And by the way, just for summary here, on Fridays what we do is basically just take questions, make calls, and also do Zooms. Meaning, for this whole live, all I'm going to be doing is, for example, calling you guys, taking your questions, for example, in the chat, or you guys can basically join me in the Zoom. So I'm going to go ahead right now, ASAP, and go ahead and open up the Zoom. So if you guys want to call me on the Zoom, that is going to be available for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat. But I do have some scheduled calls already. But to make sure everything's fine, drop a 1 in the chat and let me know that basically you guys can hear me and everything is going perfectly, okay? So drop a 1 in the chat if you're able to hear me correctly and everything sounds good. So, okay? So drop a 1 in the chat if everything sounds good, guys. On top of that, let me go ahead and share that link when it comes to the Zoom. Again, we build this while we fly. All right, where's that Zoom link to share this with you guys? I'm going to show you guys that in just a few seconds. But overall, I'm going to start making some calls right away. Let's get into that. Tommy Bryson Show, Shabu Shabu, are you able to hear me? Okay, so that looks like you're able to hear me just fine. And guys, big update. According to what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to get, for example, a new AC because this one came with my apartment and it is trash. Messes up the audio, doesn't cool down anything. So I'm going to get a new AC. That way you guys can actually hear me better because I care a lot about like audio quality. So it's always a big deal to me, you know, because I don't want you guys like watching a 2-hour live and you're like, what is that? Ring, 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 ring in the background. So what is good, Elizabeth? What is good, Shabu Shabu? And today, guys, again, we are taking calls live. I got some of you guys already scheduled to make calls, so I'm going to go ahead and basically take those calls. However, if you want to join me on the Zoom, feel free to do so. And again, whenever you do join me on the Zoom, you don't have to show your face, so don't worry about that. I see your face just once to make sure that you are a real person, but on YouTube, no one has to see your face whatsoever. What is good, Porsche? Or Michelle? What is good, Elizabeth? How is everything going? Nice to see you guys again. Yo, you guys show up every single time, so I appreciate you guys a ton. And again, starting next week, we're only going to be going live, for example, just on Fridays. The course officially is around 80% done, so I'm happy about that, and is going to be launching pretty soon. If you guys haven't noticed, okay, this whole channel that I created, like the Ask Me Bryson channel, has just been created to basically answer your questions. More importantly, get a lot of content for the course refined. Because when I talk to real people, individuals, different situation, and I put them through, for example, through a whole system, I'm like, hey, you can do this, do this, do this. And every time I say those things, it solves the problem. That is what I'm looking for. So that's why I made this channel right here. So you guys get to get all your answers, and I get to basically make a course that's actually gonna be great. Okay, so I'm very excited about that. Now let's go ahead and make some calls and actually start calling some of you guys. Okay, so today we have Rick, we have John, we have Chris, and we also have Kevin, and that is awesome. So today we have a packed day. However, as always, Elizabeth, Michelle, Shabu, Marcel, if you guys want to join me on the Zoom, feel free to do so. Those lines are open, and don't worry, in a few seconds I'll have my phone number pop up on the screen and you'll be able to see exactly my phone number. So if you want to call in directly, you're also able to do that. But for right now though, I'm gonna make some calls to the people that scheduled calls, right? So that's very important. And if you ever want to schedule a call, remember, in all of my videos there is a link. You click that link and basically you're able to go ahead and schedule a call with me in the future, usually while we are live. So let's go over to the Skype, answer some of these calls, and hopefully answer some great questions. And hopefully I have the ability to answer all these questions for you guys, okay? Because one thing about me is if I don't got the answer, I'm gonna be like, you gotta go somewhere else for that, okay? Because that's the main thing. You never want to give raw information, let your ego take a hold of you. You always want to point the person in the right direction, whether it's one of my competitors like Dave Ramsey or like Graham Stephan or me, Kevin, if I don't have the answer or the best product out there, I'll send you where that product is, because I don't care. It's just about solving a problem. That's what I'm here for. All right, let's go ahead and make this call. This call right here is to Rick. Let me know if the audio is good, if you're able to hear me, guys, okay? Let me know if the audio is good. Okay, so it's ringing on my side. Alright, everything looks good. Yeah, everything looks good. Great. So if Rick doesn't pick up, I'll make another call to to John. Doesn't pick up, I go to Chris, then Kevin, and then so on and so on. And then I'll open up, for example, the lines by putting up my phone number up there. Alright.
Please leave your message.
So let's stop that right there. I don't want anybody's phone number to be exposed. But I always call at least twice, guys, to make sure you guys get a chance. So usually if I call you, I'll send a text. This is Tommy. Because sometimes you're like, whose number is this, you know? So I always send a text saying, calling in. Tommy calling in. And then I give you another call to give you the chance to actually answer. You know, because who knows, you know? So let's see. Let's try again. Second time. Second time's a charm. Drop a 1 in the chat if you're able to hear like the ringing noise. That's very important. If you can't hear the ringing noise in this video, it helps a lot with the engagement and the YouTube algorithm and all that good stuff. So drop a like.
Please leave your message.
I appreciate it a ton. All right, so Rick was a no-show. And by the way, not a no-show because his call was scheduled for 1 p.m. I don't know how, because I'm only taking calls like during the lives. So maybe he was expecting it for that time, but obviously we're not doing calls at 1 p.m. anymore. Okay, so this is another number. I was about to say it out loud. And this is for John. So let's go ahead and give John a call and see if he answers. If he doesn't, we got some more people. Thank you, Shabu, for letting me know the audio is good. All right, let's go ahead and call in. Okay.
Your call has been forwarded to
Let's pause there. Again, send a message. This is Tommy calling in. I need an assistant, you know, to contact people, get them on the line first, confirm everything, and then pass them over to me. But again, we build this while we fly. It's not a full office or anything like that. It's just me here, right? It's just me and you guys. So that's what happens. And I'm going to go ahead just for a second here. And I am going to go, well, not just yet. I was about to make my number available so you guys can call me. But let's give John one more try and try calling him in one more time. So let's go ahead and do that again before I launch that. After John, we have Chris. Then we have Kevin. By the way, guys, how's your week been, man? How's your week been? It's about to be Friday. It is Friday. The weekend is here. What are the plans for this weekend? Are we hustling this weekend?
Your call has been forwarded.
Okay. So, John is a no-show. Let's go ahead and call Chris. I gotta give, if you guys schedule a call, whether you answer or you don't call, I gotta call you because that's my job, you know? If you guys make an appointment with me, I have to call because the last thing I want to do, you know, one of my nightmares is that you guys have like a crazy emergency and it's like you guys schedule a call with me, you trust me, and then I don't call and it's like, yo, and then I call you later and it's like, oh, I made the wrong decision. And I'm like, only if I had the opportunity to like talk to you first. I had a friend that he was about to make like this crazy, not the smartest decision ever, and just because basically I answered the phone and actually called him and talked to him, it kind of like saved him a lot of money. So I'm always trying to do those things, trying to make some sell this week. What are you selling? What are you selling? Let me know what you're selling. Let's go ahead and call Chris. What are you selling? Okay. This is Chris, right? Chris Miles.
Hello.
Is this Chris?
Yeah.
Hey Chris, this is Tommy Bryson. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, and yourself?
I'm doing good, man. So, just letting you know this call is live. Okay, so how can I help you?
Okay. I was wondering if I could get some advice in regards to monetization as well as my page that I have on Instagram as it pertains to the type of content that I make. So I just wanted some advice on that. I'm a content creator as well as
Okay.
a writer. Um,
Okay.
I go by Critics of Culture on Instagram, and a lot of my content has gone viral. I've had reposts on the Shade Room, Vlad TV, The Breakfast Club. Charlemagne
What
has
what what type
reposted
of
my.
content are you trying to make?
Oh, I'm sorry. I make memes, and like I said, a lot of them have gone viral, and
So the
I guess
goal
I'm
is
just
to, so I'm guessing, to try to monetize the memes, right?
um, well,
To try
for
to
me, I
monetize the
don't.
platform.
Yeah. It's more so the platform, not necessarily the memes, but whatever works.
Okay. And what do you write about?
Well, no, writing is just really something that I'm trying to break into. I've so far just been trying to use this platform to get an opportunity in the industry as a producer, writer, content creator, working for different platforms. I got
Okay.
the chance to write for Marvel Comics along with Charlemagne the God. Me and him
Awesome.
ended up building a rapport with each other, and he reached out to me and he said he wanted to collab on something. So I have a writing credit under my belt with Marvel Comics, and I've just been trying to build up from there. Even before that, I want to do stuff, but that so far has
Mhm.
been my biggest opportunity.
Who do you
And as
know?
far as
Who do you know? Right? Here's the thing, right? When I first wanted to get started, like in the whole movie industry, and I did at one point, for you guys that don't know this, I started out by doing a lot of things for free for people, right? And becoming like a PA, doing different things out there, and it gets to like kind of like a resume, which is fine. But resumes don't pay the bills, and they kind of don't get monetized, right? So, my advice would be, from what it sounds like, you are building a rapport, you're working, you have, for example, like this meme page, which is unrelated to like your writing stuff. So my main focus will always be, when I wanted to do YouTube, I would make a list of the top 10 creators, right? The people that are making the most money or have the biggest impact in the platform. And I would basically just work backwards. So, how did they actually get there? And what do they do to actually make money or to make like the best content and to have a connection with their audience? So, my advice would be, if you want to be a writer, as far as, for example, if it's like in the Marvel Comics, or being like a producer or whatever it is, then the idea is, who are the producers that you're looking up to or the writers you're looking up to, and how do they get there, and how can you basically get in the same door or in the same room with them. Not to say like it's gonna happen overnight, of course it won't, but it's about giving yourself the best likelihood of actually achieving what they achieve, because in reality most of those people, they leave behind a blueprint, whether it's, for example, a book, interviews, or whatever it is. Does that make sense?
no, it makes perfect sense, and that's kind of what I've been doing. I applied to different positions at on different platforms for social media manager or digital producer, just things like that, because that's basically what I've been doing. And a lot of these platforms that I've reached out to for opportunities have reposted my content already. So I just figured, why not? It'd be perfect.
Yeah. What how do you make money? Like currently, like what's
Um,
your main job?
Part-time call center worker.
Okay. How much do you make per month?
Monthly, mm, close to 1,000. I work 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, making 13 an hour.
Who do you live with? You live with by yourself or with your moms?
Yeah, I'm still with family pretty much.
Yeah. So you need a full-time job, bro, and you need to figure out exactly what skill you're gonna get to build a career. Because the thing is, with creative works, is that you don't know when they're gonna pop, right? So you need, whether it was JC, he was hustling out there with the illegal stuff. 50 Cent, the same thing. Me, the same thing with my careers in accounting and whatever it is. Like, you need to have like a skill that's in development. People actually want it, so you can actually make that money and work with your extra time on whatever you actually want to develop until it pops off. When that pops off, you're able to basically say, hey, since this makes me equal or more money than my job, I can go ahead and basically quit. Does that make sense? So that means I would make a list of my top 10 like careers that I kind of want to do, figure out how I can get in that door. How old are you, by the way?
I'm old. I'm 29.
Yeah, so you need a job, bro. You know what I mean? So you need a job. Stop worrying about the viral content. What's going this? What's going that? It doesn't pay your bills, right? So what you need to do is get a skill that you are good at, a skill that you like, and a skill that's gonna pay you money. So what I teach is basically the rule of 10. You make a list of the top 10 like careers you would like to do, and then you do like a research paper on each of them. So what's the growth in that industry? How much does it pay? How long will it take me to actually do it? Like all the research possible. Then you cross off, cross off, cross off, cross off. When you're left with the top 3, you pick the one that you like the most, because most likely all your top 10 dream careers, they're all gonna make you money. But it's very important that you enjoy the one you actually pick the most. So this means, for example, if you pick being like a plumber or doing real estate, being a lineman, fixing elevators, whatever it is, those are jobs that pay you over $40,000 every single year. That means, for example, you're gonna be making at least $4,000 per month or $3,000 per month. That means you're not living with your parents anymore. Does that make sense? And when you don't live with your parents, it allows you, from a creative standpoint, to have to stand on your own 2 feet and to kind of have to be making real adjustments in life. So that means if I'm gonna go into this career, fine. I like it. I'm good at it, so I'm not miserable there. I dedicate 8 hours there, 8 hours to sleep, so that's 16 gone, and then I have another 8. That 8 or that 4 after eating and traveling or whatever it is, I use it to dedicate it towards writing or memes or whatever it is. And there's a saying, right? Not every single passion has to be monetized. But if your plan is to live off this passion, you have to figure out a way to monetize it by following the blueprint those people left behind. A great book on this is called Will It Fly by Pat Flynn. It's basically a book to teach you and to help you on how to build something and basically benchmark it to see if it's actually going to be worth your time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The reason I tell you this, Chris, is because it could be very easy that I call you in the next 10 years and you're still waiting until this pops off, because that's how long these things take. I made videos since I was like 11 years old. When I was like 19, 20, that's when I actually made some money. These things are going to take a long, long time. But I went to college. I became an accountant. Whether you want to do a trade job, get a license, whatever it takes, but you got to get out your mom's house. You're 29 years old. You got to start standing up on your 2 feet, and that allows you to just have like your own foundation. Because the big thing is, since you only make $1,000 and you have like the safety net, you're able to operate from a place of no risk. But when you have, for example, your own job, put in the same hours, and you also have your own apartment, when you're operating, you have to be more technical because the risk is real. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what I would do, brother. I'm very big on passion. I'm very big on following your dreams, but I'm not big on just doing that when it's not showing results, and you could be doing a lot more things, right? So that's why I say, whatever you do pick as far as like career-wise, make sure you like it. That way you're not miserable. Make sure you're good at it. That way you're not mediocre. And make sure it makes you money. That way it's not a hobby. Your life is going to be very different making $4,000 a month versus making $1,000 and still living with your mom trying to be creative. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right, brother. Any more questions?
Yeah, so as far as the one of the things you said in the video, because I found you when I looked up the YouTube video, how to monetize content on Instagram, or how to get paid off it rather.
Mm-hmm.
You said one of the things you should do is build up an audience. Well, I've already have 11,000 followers.
Okay.
Is there anything? And I just want to, I hear what you're saying in regards to, getting some full-time work and then doing this more so on the side. But I was just wondering, is there any advice you would give to someone who has created a platform for himself, who's gained a following,
The thing
and
is,
has,
right,
yeah,
it all depends, right? A great guy on this, his name is on YouTube, is called Black Hustlers Club, and the main thing is the size of your audience matters, but it matters a lot more who your audience is, right? Because when you have an audience that's based around memes and funny things, how do you monetize that? So the best way is, as always, work backwards. So when I think about what you're telling me, I automatically think about Daquan, right? Like the guy that's super famous or whatever. He does all those things. Well, he makes memes around like products and basically advertisements, and you get paid that way. So per post, he gets paid money. I think somebody actually bought out his Instagram account. And on top of that, for example, if you want to make like T-shirts with memes, that's fine. But 11,000 like followers is cool. But who's following you? And do these people actually have money to pay to you? And do they actually want to pay you for something? So again, the rule is the same. Whenever you want to figure out what to do, you want to look at who's doing that and then work backwards. But again, Black Hustlers Club, that guy talks a lot about like how to get paid off our Instagram through shout outs and so on and so on. It could be profitable. And when I say, for example, getting a full-time job, I mean like, yo, you can do both. When I was in college, I was doing college, daily vlogs, flipping phones, and also I had 2 jobs, right? So you can do both. You have a lot of time to your hand. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
That's what I'm saying, brother. Remember, right? Time waits for no one. You're 29 today. 10 years from now, you'll be 39. You could either have a degree. By that time, you make, for example, like at least $400,000, or you could just be right here waiting for them to happen. You know what I'm saying? And it might work, it might not work, but it could also work while you're also getting yourself something that's more secure. Make sense?
Yeah. No, I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you, man. Welcome to the long-term team. That's what we're here for. I'm excited to hear about the decision you actually make, so feel free to call back, schedule a call, and we'll talk again, okay?
Yeah, man, check me out. Critics of Culture. I also do promo, so if you ever need anything creative or promo, I'd be happy to work with you.
All right, man. Thank you. Peace out.
All right.
All right, guys. So that right there was Chris. And you know, some people, there's actually a couple pages on YouTube on how to monetize memes, but yeah, it needs to be a full-time income and a side hustle. Yeah, you know, one thing I never do, right? And I never try to do, Marcel, Elizabeth, Michelle, all you guys that are here right now, I love you guys a lot. One thing I never try to do is I never try to rain on somebody's parade, right? So if you have a dream or whatever it is that you actually want to do, it's cool, right? But you got to be realistic. So when I wanted to do YouTube and it made me $0, I wasn't going to live with my mom until I'm 29 years old until it worked, right? I'm going to get a job. I'm going to get a degree. I'm going to get a license or a trade, whatever it is, to actually earn money when I'm trying to get that. And the whole idea is always, whenever you're trying to do something, I remember this so well. You know, when I used to watch movies about, for example, like UFOs or whatever, there was always like reverse engineering. Like if you don't know what the technology is, you work backwards. You basically disarm the UFO, then you basically rebuild it. That way you know what's actually in it, how it basically works and operates. It's the same exact thing. Reverse engineering, but with business. So if I don't know how to do something, I'm going to go out there and find out who the people are that do make money, because usually entrepreneurs are very aware people. They know who's doing better than they are, right? We compare ourselves a lot, which is actually not the best thing to do. Compare yourself against yourself. But the answer is, we know who's better than us. We know, well, not better than us. We know who's doing better than us at the time. So go look at what those people are doing and basically take a hint, right? And find out what you can do to actually make it better. But yeah, 29 years old, meme page, and doing some writing gigs, throwing out some big names is cool. It's cool, right? But you need a job, right? You need a full-time job. Making $1,000 living with your mom, you need a full-time job. It's just real, and it's just math. All right, so how can you call up Mr. Robbins? I am going to make my number public in about 10 seconds or so, but I have one more call that's actually scheduled, so I'm going to go ahead and call this person. And this right here is Kevin, and he wants to know about accounting-related stuff, how you started out. This is going to be a great conversation. Let's go ahead and give Kevin a call. By the way, people call me a lot about like monetizing YouTube, monetizing Instagram, monetizing this, and also like how to get started with accounting. You know, a lot of these questions are Googleable. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's great, right? You can ask me whatever it is, but you got to get used to Googling things, right? That's one thing I learned. I remember I used to try to hit up Casey Neistat with a lot of crazy questions. No response, obviously. And when I used to talk to Gary Vee, which I talked to Gary Vee once, like in person actually, and it was like a lot of it was just like, yo, Google, because you have to be self-reliant, have to be independent, have to figure things out. Whenever you call me with these questions, what I'm gonna do is point you in the right direction. Hey, if you notice, if you call me about monetization, I'm gonna say, hey, this channel right here has a full channel based on that, because in 20 minutes, I'm not gonna give you some ultimate secret. Doesn't work like that. It takes a lot of hard work. Tell me about YouTube. Hey, read this book and that book, because guess what? In 20 minutes, I'm not gonna give you some magic pill. It just doesn't work like that. Whether it's business, whether it's life, life is not fast food. It does not happen overnight. Okay, let's go ahead and give Kevin a call here. So I think Kevin is located where? I don't know where he's located. By the way, guys, comment down below where are you guys located? I want to know where you guys are watching me from. Let me know in the chat. I can read the chat, by the way, so I'm seeing everything you guys are chatting. So let me see what's good. Where are you guys watching from? Let me know. So this is Kevin. New York, nice.
Hello.
Hello, is this Kevin?
Yes.
Hey, Kevin, this is Tommy Bryson. How are you?
Doing good. How are you, Tom?
I'm doing good, man. Just want you to know this call is live. So how can I help you?
Oh no, I'm so, wait, you called me? Or I called you back, sir?
This is Tommy Bryson from YouTube. How can I help?
Oh, Tommy. My bad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My fault. I
Just
didn't
so you
know it was
know,
you.
bro.
Sorry, I was at work.
It's fine, it's fine. Just so you know, though, right? This call is live, okay? So, it's live. So whatever you're saying, people can hear it. I'm here to help, though. And people here are very supportive. So how can I help?
Awesome, man. Yeah, I just wanted to pick your brain on a couple things. You know, a little bit about myself. I just graduated college, accounting student. Just wanted to know, like, just a couple things of your upbringings. Like, I know you said, because I saw a couple videos of yours, that you were providing your own accounting services to locals, and I just wanted to know, like, how'd you go about that and what specific services you provided, if you could share a bit.
Okay, so the way it started out was when I was in college, I was very afraid about graduating and having to go into a job into accounting, because I knew if I did that, I would kind of be like more like trapped, because I'm very complacent. Was complacent at the time. So what I started doing is basically I started to go into my local businesses, for example, and offering, for example, bookkeeping, helping them get capital, giving them advice about business, how to grow it, helping them get ATMs, just offering services that I know that they needed, but they didn't know how to get. And I started off with one person, which led to another person, which led to another person. And before you know it, I had a lot of clients. But it was more just like door to door and just basically referral based. So it was more about taking the skills I knew as an accountant, and instead of going ahead and basically applying to somebody else's business, I just applied to my own business in a sense. And while I was doing that, because I didn't really make that much money at first, I also had like a job, right? So I had a job at New York Sports Club doing like data management. So I had that business. Then I also have, for example, my main income. Then I have, for example, the YouTube thing. Eventually, everything went like on full cylinders. So eventually, the business paid me a lot of money. And then YouTube started paying me money, and by that time, in the process, my dad had passed away. So I kind of like quit the other job because I really didn't like it. So I just focused on those two things. But my plan A was always YouTube. My plan B was like accounting, to kind of like sustain myself, to kind of like be able to do what I wanted to do, but also not be starving and self-reliant on my parents or whatever it was. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I like how you always follow that passion. It's really cool to see. Any hardships you you remembered going through that accounting? Was it like the initial process, like not getting paid and stuff like that?
It's not that you don't get paid. You don't. Of course you get paid, right? But I think when you think about things from a place of getting paid, you're not really gonna make it, all right? Because it's important to have like a whole system and a whole plan about how you're gonna get paid, but it's more important to figure out how you're gonna give people value, right? If you give people value and you know how to negotiate, basically, you're gonna get paid regardless. So I really had no crazy hardship. So if you give value, you get paid. Money follows value. And if you want to get paid more money, then you got to solve more problems for more people. Make sense?
Wow, that's fine. Yeah, most definitely. That's why I'm kind of a little upset that I found your channel really late, but that's something that you really do. You provide a lot of value, and I really do appreciate what you do, man. It's really an honor, especially talking to you. You taking the time out. Thank you so much, man.
What are you trying to do?
Me, I'm trying to take the traditional route. I have a couple side hustles, as well, but I'm trying to be the CPA, and then from there, I was market myself.
Look, man. having your own firm and all this stuff is not for everybody, and that's completely fine. If I wanted to be like an accountant, I would have gone into an accountant, but a lot of what I did was incorrect the first time, because when I went into accounting, it wasn't because I loved accounting or because I did research on it. It was just basically somebody told me about accounting, right? And then once I was doing the whole thing, I was like, I hate college anyways. Let me just finish this degree. And then I just basically finished it. I had the skills, so I started kind of using it. That's all it was. But if you picked accounting and you like it, it's what you want to do. One of the best ways to make money is you get a job at Deloitte or one of the big companies, one of the big firms. You start making $70,000 a year, and you start buying your financial freedom with that money. If you want more money with side hustle or whatever, that's fine too. But it's more than enough to get financial freedom. Make sense? Are you for
It's
what?
just to fulfill one of the requirements for the CPA exam. The credits.
You need a master's degree to get your CPA now? To become a CPA?
Not necessarily. You need like 150 credits, and one of the ways was to get the master's, and I figured I'd go through that route because the other ways were a little more costly. So I found it more beneficial just going straight to the master's.
You have student loan debt?
Yeah, but not as much as I'm not too much in debt. With the masters included, almost 20, which is pretty steep, but I have, around that. I have the money aside pretty much. I just have it pretty much like I'm kind of like investing, so it's like trying to like get a better return in the meantime.
So how do you make money right now?
Main source is obviously my current job. I just work for like an energy company in the billing department.
Okay.
Then my secondary sources are like, side gigs, whether it's flipping sneakers, things I find online, or just other thing is like long-term stock trading. But I don't really see that as a short-term income. I like to think of those investments long-term. So I don't even think about.
How much do you get paid per hour?
Right now, because I'm like technically an internship, just 20.
Okay. $20 per hour. So remember, right, when you're flipping sneakers or whatever house you have to make at least that much money per hour. Or else, for example, you might be wasting time. When you have a skill like yours, which is accounting, you'll be able to either do bookkeeping on Upwork or whatever it is and make a good amount of money. So pick your side hustles correctly. Because a side hustle for you, when it comes to sneakers or trying to flip something, you can make $20, $30, $50, $100 on 3-5 hours of work. But if you have, for example, a skill like accounting, you're able to make a lot more money during independent work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, most definitely. I just had the wrong mindset approach of like I'd have to become a CPA to provide services, and that's when I crossed your approach, and I was like, wow, I could have put myself out there a lot sooner.
Yeah, and that's fine. How old are you, by the way?
22.
Bro, you're super young. Shut up. You are super young, man. Relax. On top of that, man, I noticed you said, for example, Tommy, I set aside the cash that I need. I could pay my student loan debt, but I'm kind of investing right now. I had that same mindset initially to the point where I was super heavily leveraged, right? I owed a lot of money, and I was making a lot of money from that same money, and I had my student loan debt and all that stuff, but I figured out, like through experience, that one of the best ways to kind of just like grow your wealth is pay off your debts, right? So pay off your debts so that when you fully graduate, all your income is yours. Right now we have the pleasure where basically they're not charging us any interest, but it's a perfect time to pay it off because that way you're not going to acquire any interest when it does come back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's true.
You live at home with your mom, or you live alone?
No, yeah, I still live with my parents.
Okay, awesome. So what I would do is, if I'm 22 years old, how much do you make per year, by the way? Do you know? It's an internship. Well, maybe like $40,000 a year. So
yeah, but with taxes. Yeah.
So if I'm making $40,000 a year, living with my parents, I'm gonna take. And how long? And you have one more year until you're done with your whole master's degree, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So take this time, pay off your student loan debt, save up for emergencies, and start saving up for your moving out costs. Do you have a car or no?
Yes.
Okay. Is it paid off?
Yeah, luckily it's paid off. Just got the usual expenses like insurance and gas.
Bro, you have a great start. Okay, you can be on all 4 cylinders and potentially be done with the whole game by the time you turn like 32, 33 years old. in the next like 10, 11 years, you're fully done. So if I'm you, 22 years old, accounting skill, about to get my master's in accounting, and also, for example, become a CPA, which is pretty cool, by the way. It's just like another asset that's value to you. So I'll pay off my debts. Now I'm fully debt free. I'll save up for 3 to 6 months worth of emergencies, not with my parents, for example, but we're basically, once I do move out, calculating, for example, my cost of rent. You're able to do that. You have data skills. And then I'll save up the money to get my first apartment. For example, first month's rent, then the deposit or whatever it is. Remember too, right? Whenever you're getting this property, don't try to raise your expenses to the level of your new income. If you go from making $40,000 to $70K, don't start living that lifestyle. When you get your first apartment, follow the 33% rule, meaning the apartment you get cannot cost more than a third of your income, or potentially even lower. Where do you live? What state?
New Jersey.
Yeah, so that can potentially mean you can stay with your parents a little longer, or you can just rent a room, or you can get like an apartment for like $1,000, maybe $1,200. I know things are kind of more expensive over there, but just get something small. You don't need the biggest space. It doesn't have to be fully furnished, and just go on Craigslist and get free furniture for everything and just call it a day. So now I graduated. I have no debt. I have an emergency fund. I have my apartment. I can start investing 10-20% into my retirement accounts, because when you do become an accountant, you probably will not make more than $100,000 starting out, maybe like $70,000-$80,000. What I would do is just invest money into my Roth IRA and get the max match in the 401k with the company. I'm investing 10-20%. The rest of my money, I'm going to be saving up to buy my property. Not right now, but when the time does come. When I buy the property, I use the 33% rule on a 15-year mortgage, meaning the property that I buy cannot cost more than a third of my income, again, but including the taxes, the mortgage, insurance, HOA, maintenance, everything on a 15-year mortgage. So the home you buy is going to be not that expensive. So you'll be able to basically pay it off faster than 15 years because of your salary. So now, right, different picture. You're around 33, 32 years old. You're mortgage free, debt free, a job you enjoy, maybe you build a business around it, and you're able to just enjoy all the fruits of your labor and potentially retire that early. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, man, it sounds like a great picture.
Consider that, man. Do the math, run the numbers. I know you're a math person. It makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, man. Wow. I'm just a little. I wasn't expecting this call. I'm sorry. You caught me off guard, and I'm just,
Yeah, man. If you schedule a call with me, I'm gonna call you. What do you think this is?
I don't know. I thought I chose a different day, but no, it's just crazy. You're an awesome person, man. I really do appreciate what you do.
I appreciate you, man. Welcome to the long-term team. Always feel free to call back. And again, good luck getting your master's, and also good luck getting becoming a CPA. It's a tough exam, but as long as you study, do the right things, you'll be good. Okay.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you, man. Stay blessed.
All right, peace out. All right, guys. So that right there was Kevin. And that is awesome. And you might tell me, Tommy, why would he tell him to pay a student loan debt off? Because why do people like carrying that stuff around? You don't have to carry it around. Pay it off and then focus on investing 100%. If you're investing with the student loan debt, when they charge any interest, you'll basically cancel out all your gains. So it makes no sense. Now, that has officially been. Oh, we got here. Hey Tommy, I'm from Jersey City. Nice. I've been to Jersey when I was in New York probably like 4 times. New Jersey's cool. It's nice. Miami, Florida. I know. Also, Danny from Miami. Guys, secret. At one point, I was actually going to move to Miami. If you guys know that story, I was going to move, not to Miami, I was going to move to Fort Myers or Tampa to save money on state taxes. But then I figured out, hey, Puerto Rico is a lot more tax friendly. And on top of that, it's just a lot better too. You just save a lot of money overall. I like it. I like it a lot. But you never know. I might be in Florida one of these days. One thing is that once I do retire, or are financially free, basically, one thing that I will do is just take like mini retirement trips. So I'll spend like a few months, maybe like in Florida, a few months maybe like in Colombia, a few months in Dominican Republic, and just carry my laptop around and a few books and just basically make videos from there and answer questions from there. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay. And Tommy, when is that gonna happen? Next year. So next year when I buy my property, probably gonna be done paying for it in cash already. I already have money in my investment account, have low expenses, passive income. Great. Whatever I tell you guys to do is exactly what I'm doing. So I know it works because I'm doing it also. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and go into reveal this whole thing here. So okay, so let's go cut into that, and boom. This right here, guys, is my phone number. So if you guys want to call me directly and talk to me one-on-one, there is the phone number right there. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. So the phone number is 518-635-0992. That is the phone number. So feel free to call me right now. If you have questions, join the chat. If you want to see me and talk to me one-on-one, join the Zoom. All the links are there. However, we've been here for the past 54 minutes, and as always, my rule is, as long as... Okay, here we go. We have a call. Hi, hello?
Hey, is this Tommy?
This is Tommy. Who's this?
Hey, it's Robin.
Hey, Robin. How are you, bro?
I was in the chat.
I see you.
First, I want to say thank you for everything you're doing, helping us, become more financially free. You definitely helped me a lot this past few years. So I want to say thank you.
Appreciate you, brother.
How
can I
help? I got like two questions.
Okay.
First one is, okay, with the retirement, right? I'm like 27 right now. If I wanted to retire in the next, let's say 20 years at 47,
okay,
where would the best place to have my money? Basically in a retirement account, or in just like a straight portfolio, kind of like simulating that retirement account.
A taxable portfolio, you mean?
Yeah.
So, overall, right? A retirement portfolio and a taxable portfolio, the only difference is the tax advantage, right? So
yeah,
it's not like a retirement portfolio has different investments. Usually you have the same investments to actually invest into. It's just that some employers, they basically restrict it because they don't want you to take crazy risks. So they want to make sure that it's fully balanced, so it'll actually be there by the time you retire, because some people would just invest their money in Bitcoin. Next thing you know, they retire with no money. So that's why they do what they do. But overall, if your goal is to retire by 47 years old, the first thing is go to Savings Goal Calculator. Well, how about I go there with you right now? So let me go ahead and open this up, because we're talking about, for example, in 20 years. So I'm going to go to Savings Goal Calculator on Google and find out exactly what your numbers actually are. And again, right, so how much money do you want in passive income every single year in order to retire?
About 40K.
Okay, awesome. That's around my number too. So if we go here, right, so if you want to get $4,000 and we follow, for example, the 4% rule, that means we're only going to withdraw 4% of our investment to actually get us $40,000. So that means $40,000 divided by 0.04, we need around $1 million, right? It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So $1 million. How much money do you have right now in your investments?
In regular investments, just I would say 8K, 8,000. That's about it.
Okay, so $8,000 is your initial investment. On top of that, you want to do this in 20 years, right?
Yeah, around about.
And let's say you make 8%. The calculator says you need to invest around $1,753 every single month in order to get to that amount. That's a hell of a lot of money, right?
It is.
So I got a better way to do it. So the better way is, instead of focusing, for example, on this $1 million and 40K of passive income, focus on what you can do right now to get closer to it. So the first question is, do you have any debt, Robin?
No, no debt.
No car loan, student loan debt, mortgage, nothing?
No, none of that.
Okay, so you're debt free. What is your income per month?
Per month, I would say, I think $2,000, close to minimum wage, $2,000. I'm a manager at like Family Dollar.
Okay, so what's your plan there?
Well, I'm like stuck between doing two things. One, I kind of want to go to like a computer science boot camp and get into the technical world, and they make decent money. I kind of like that kind of stuff. Also, another
You
part
like
of
the
me
money,
wants
or you like the computers?
both.
Okay, good.
Another part of me actually wants to join the military, where I know they have a strict, like, their retirement plan is pretty great. After 20 years, you definitely have like a consistent passive income.
There's a saying.
So I'm
There's a saying. It's by Warren Buffett. He says, "If it's an honor to die for a country, let the other guy have the honor." Shout out to all the people that are in the military. We appreciate your service. No joke. But overall, here's what I will say. Right. I have a friend. He does software engineering. He works at IBM. Makes around $147,000. Is about to work for Google in the talks for it, and that's potentially going to make around $250K per year. The first thing is, obviously, it makes a lot of money, right? But obviously, it takes a lot of skills too. So if you want to go, for example, whether it's software engineering or IT management, whatever it is, or like security analysis or whatever it is, you can do that. There's everything's out there, but you got to make this plan now, because right now, what I would say is, if I'm debt free, how much cash do you have on you right now? Cash.
Just regular cash.
Liquid cash.
Nothing. Liquid cash. Maybe like $600.
Okay. You live alone or you live with your parents?
Parents.
Okay. So I'm 27 years old. I live with my parents. I'm a manager at Family Dollar. The Dollar Tree, right? The Dollar Tree?
Family, same thing. Dollar Tree bought out Family Dollar.
I didn't even know that. Nice. So Family Dollar. And my question is, do I get into this new career and I want to get to this goal? The first thing is this, okay? You have $600 in your bank account, so you're on par with the average American because you have less than $1,000. I don't want you to be average. So this means because you're living with your parents, it means your expenses should be super low, unless you're giving them, for example, half your income. So this means take this chance right now, lower your expenses, and just shut down everything, cancel everything, and use this money to build on top of the skill you want to get. Now, if you said, yo, Tom, I want to be like the regional manager for Family Dollar, that's fine. It pays a lot of money. I want to go corporate with Family Dollar, that's fine. It pays a lot of money. But if you don't want to stay there, the answer is that's going to be your seed capital job. So you're kind of there. You get another job also to earn you some side income. You use that income to basically pay for your degree or your boot camp or whatever you actually want to do. And 2 years from now or 3 years from now, when you are 30 years old, you have, for example, a skill that you're able to go out there and earn $40,000, $70,000 a year, or potentially $100,000 a year, which is awesome, right?
Yeah.
And then you can just go ahead and move out of your parents' house, because the big thing is, if I told you, where do you live, by the way? What state do you live in?
New York.
New York, you said?
Yeah, New York.
Yeah. So if I told you, yo, move out of your parents' house now, because you're 27 years old. I know the room is gonna be like around $150 a week, so that's already $600 off your paycheck. So you only have left like $1,200, or $1,400 after the month, and then you want to also do this boot camp, right? So you could do that if you want to get your own space, get a room. You could do that, that's fine. But what I would do is I would kind of get myself secure first and use that kind of like as a springboard. If you don't want to, that's fine. But I'm gonna be working towards getting this whole degree or whatever it is. If you watch my lives, usually I talk about the rule of 10. Have you heard about that before?
The rule of 10 sounds familiar, but nothing on top of my head right now.
So the rule of 10 is basically when you make a list of the top 10 careers that you would love to have, and then you do a research paper on each of them. So what's the growth? How much will it cost? How much will it pay me? How long will it take me? Right? You find out all the information about it. And then you make sure that each of those careers, you like it, you're good at it, and it's also going to give you a good amount of money. And then you cross off until, for example, with 3, and you pick the one you like the most, right? So if that's going to be, for example, software engineering, great. If it's something else, great. But you go into that. And it doesn't have to be, for example, just college. It could be trade school or getting a license, whatever it is. But just make sure that it's at least over $40,000 a year, because it's going to help you out a lot. Make sense?
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So overall, my focus would not be on retirement right now. That's cool to think about it. But my goal would just be basically on getting a skill to earn me more money and give me some independence. And remember, with a lot of software and kind of like tech degrees and skills, You don't have to live in New York. New York is trash. It's very cool. It's where everything's at, but it's very expensive. There's Florida, there's Texas, there's a lot of places where you can basically live, and it's not that expensive. Okay?
Especially like in the tech field, you could do remote work as well. So that's kind of the goal.
Yeah. Just remember, though, in the tech field, though, they do pay you based on where you are. So if you live in New York, you get paid more money, but you also spend more money. So there's always that drawback. So overall, just to review everything I'm telling you here, stay debt free by paying for your degree with the cash you have. Apply for at least 200 scholarships just to get free money. Save up for emergencies when the time comes. Then once you have, for example, that job and whatever, you can start investing that 10-20%, and then saving up for a property using the 33% rule on a 15-year mortgage. But that's gonna be a few years from now. Your main focus right now is get a new skill. Make sense?
Got it. Thank you,
right, brother.
I appreciate
you, man. Any more questions?
You too. No, that's it. Thank you.
All right, man. Welcome to the long-term team. Nice to have a conversation with you. Okay. Peace out.
You too. Have a blessed day.
All right, guys. So that right there was Ashley Robin. Shout out to you guys. Okay. Again, I love talking to you guys. Okay. But overall, the idea is, okay, investing is cool, but when you're broke, it's not cool, because you need, for example, to increase your income. That's a big thing people basically don't focus on. Imagine me telling this guy, yeah, in order to get to your goal, all you have to do is just invest, for example, $1,725 and ending it right there. But me not knowing, for example, he makes $2,000 a month. How do I live off of $275 for the next, for example, 50 years or 20 years? It's impossible. Use this money. Your biggest return on your investment a lot of the times is going to be in yourself. It's corny, but it's true, right? Because if you invest, for example, $20,000 in yourself, that $20,000 should make it, for example, $50,000 a year, or like $70K. We have another call. Hello.
This is Brett. How you doing?
Brat?
Yeah.
Is that B-R-A-T?
No, B-R-E-T-T.
Okay, B-R-E-T-T. Brett. How can I help?
Yeah, I have a question. I make about $100,000 doing sales in produce, and I invest about $1,000 a month in a brokerage, $500 in a Roth IRA, and $1,625 a month a Roth 401k. But I live in California. Yeah, I put the full $19,500 a year.
Nice.
But I live in California, and I do a Roth 401k, but the expense ratios in my Roth 401k are like almost 2%. Should I just not do a Roth 401k and just put it in a brokerage and low cost index? Like I'm already.
This is an amazing question, so thank you for welcoming me to it. So overall, you are investing $19,500 plus $6,000 plus $12,000, around $37,500, which is that's funny. It's the same amount of money I was investing into my retirement accounts. That's awesome. Okay, so the big question is, right? By the way, you wanna take me off the live, so cancel me there.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
we don't have an audio loop. Okay.
Okay,
so
let me just. Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's fine. So what you want to do is, instead of canceling, you want to talk to your employer and find out exactly what funds have you invested into, because that's very important.
Well,
because
I'm in the lowest cost funds I could be in at my employer.
really,
That's why. And I like my job, so it's not like I don't ever plan on leaving, so I could just roll it into a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA. But I don't necessarily want to be stuck paying 2% for 30 years.
what does the math say? How much is it going to end up costing you? And how much is it going to end up saving you?
I'm not exactly sure, to be honest.
So that sounds like some numbers you got to run. Because they're probably, it's not the funds. What are they investing you into exactly?
Well, I'm with American Funds, so I'm in the Growth Fund of America, Small Cap World, the Investment Company of America, and I think New Perspective Fund.
But you do sales, right? So don't you get paid at 1099, or you're a W-2 employee?
Wait, what did you say? Sorry.
Are you a W-2 employee or you get paid on 1099?
I am a W-2 employee.
Okay, so a few options, right? You can talk to them, see if they can actually help you with some other funds that are actually less expensive. For example, some Vanguard ones, just like have a conversation with them. Second option is you could potentially negotiate to just be, for example, a contractor. Maybe.
Yeah.
So if you do become a contractor, you can get, for example, a self-directed IRA or 401k, and then you're able to just pick and choose your own investments. And then that way, because I'm not paying past like 0.05% of my funds, right? 2% is a lot of money. Like it's gonna cost you at least a third of your whole gains. For perspective, guys, okay, when you are investing into a portfolio and you make like 8% on average, 2-3% goes towards inflation. Taxes like 2%. Well, in this case, not taxes because it's a Roth 401k, but the rest of it, because it's taken out, for example, on these fees, it's gonna cost like almost like a third of your portfolio. Make sense?
Yeah, I had difficulty, because I'm already investing in a brokerage on the side to just only put the match and then just put all of it in a brokerage.
The big caveat is that that's what I was saying, man. You want to have a conversation with them and see what they can actually offer you, right? If they're able to kind of say like, hey, is it possible to add this fund or do this?
I've had a couple conversations. The problem is we're only like a 5-people company. So it's not.
It should be more flexible then.
You think it should be more flexible?
Yeah, because I mean they don't have any like any reason to just go with, for example, with this whole fund. I mean, don't tell me your employer. That's you don't want to say that live. But my point is, you seem like a math person. You make a good amount of money. Bring this information to your boss. Hey, this is gonna cost us X amount of money. And I found a fund that's actually going to benefit us more, and it's also going to save the company a lot more money and the employees more money. I'm pretty sure everyone wants to save more money for their retirement, right?
Okay.
So that's the but don't just come to your boss empty-handed complaining about something. Do the research. Go on Vanguard, say like, and then ask Vanguard like, hey, how much is? By the way, I have a self-directed 401k with Vanguard, and they don't really charge you anything like that. So, and it's a lot cheaper. And if the employer gives you a match, the benefit is that. By the way, do they give you a match?
Yeah, it's pretty reasonable. It's 6%.
Yeah, so that means they invest that into your 401k, and then you invest the rest into your Roth 401k, right? So
correct.
Yeah, so just talk to them and be like, hey, I found this alternative, and you talk to if it's 5 people, so it shouldn't take that much convincing to tell somebody, hey, if you switch here, they'll save a third. Right, over the long term, and it's just 5 people you have to convince. So you talk to your boss about this, you bring it up, and you see what they can possibly do. But don't bring more problems to him. Bring solutions to him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I completely understand. Yeah, because I was having difficulty not put money in my 401k just because of the fees.
Because one thing you can do is, unless they're like, some employers let you roll over the funds from the 401k into a traditional IRA without having to quit. Some do, but most don't. So if they're able to do that, what I would possibly do is every single year, every single month, just roll over that money over to my traditional IRA, and from there, just roll that over into my Roth IRA and pay the difference in the gains in that tax. And that way, I'm constantly doing that.
I had a question. You obviously lived in a high state tax place as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is it better to invest in a pre-tax 401k and just put the difference in a brokerage?
Don't worry about yourself now. Worry about yourself tomorrow. How old are you?
Yeah, but... Huh?
How old are you?
33.
33 years old. So here's the thing, right? How much money do you have in total invested?
About 230,000.
Okay. So
70,000 70,000 in a 401k and 130 in a brokerage. And a little bit like 12,000 in Roth.
130 in a brokerage. Okay. All right. So here's the thing, right? If you, in the next 20 years, if you have $1 million in the Roth 401k, that you just roll over into your Roth, all that money is yours. If you have $1 million, for example, in the 401k, guess what? You're gonna lose almost a third of that income. A third of probably like 30% of it is gonna go straight to taxes. But when you get older, that's when you're going to need the tax benefits, right? That's when you're actually going to need the money.
No, but I was talking about putting the difference into a brokerage. Like
the difference?
Yeah, so if I'm putting $812,000 because I put 812 a paycheck into my Roth 401k.
Mhm.
But if I put 812 in a pre-tax 401k, I get an extra like 200 and change in my paycheck that I could just dump into a brokerage.
No, the game I
No.
play is I do if they have an option for the Roth IRA, I focus on that because the big deal is
Okay.
that the 401k has restrictions. So by age 70, you have mandatory withdrawals. While with the Roth, you don't
Yeah.
have. And with your income, most likely, if you keep being, for example, like this high quality employee, you probably won't even need the retirement money because if you set up everything correctly, you won't need it. So let me ask some other questions, okay? Do you have any debt?
Zero. But
Yo,
but I
you are.
but I don't own a house, and I'm okay with renting.
You have an emergency fund?
Yeah, I do.
6 months?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right. So here's the thing about renting versus buying, right? The math is not, for example, just saying like, well, buying is always better. Depending on where you live and the prices of homes, you have to use a rent versus buy calculator. It's common sense to know that for a fact, right? That eventually renting will become more expensive than buying, right?
Yes.
So you want to use a rent versus buy calculator and start saving up the money. So what I currently do is, right, even myself, I used to invest heavily, like almost like $250,000 every single year. That's what I was doing. That's stupid because I'm heavily leveraging the stock market. If that crashes, it's done for me. So what I started doing is basically I limited myself to only like 10 to 20% of my income I invest in the stock market. So currently I'm only doing 20%.
Okay.
The rest of my
But
money, because I'm debt free and I have an
Yeah.
emergency fund, I put that money, for example, in my savings to buy my property next year, or just have the money there in your case so when the time actually does come. Now, why don't you want to have your own property? Or why do you feel comfortable just renting?
well, I just see it as if the stock market grows to a certain point, I could just grab that money and buy a house cash at any time.
Okay.
And
What
I
happened?
would
What
think
happened
you
in
mean
1929?
well, generally though, when the market crashes, doesn't real estate go with it? I mean, for the real
No.
estate to go to all-time
No.
high and stock
That's why.
crash.
That's why we have a portfolio, because usually, you know, REITs, right? Real estate investment trusts.
Yeah,
reason
I
why we-
used to be in them, but they're not tax friendly at all, so I stopped
Yeah.
it in the brokerage.
But the reason why we put money in there is because it's kind of very different from the stock market. So if the stock market crashes, that gives you, for example, a little hiccup, right? So it won't crash automatically either, because real estate and stocks, they're not really that simultaneously following each other. So 1929, we had a crash that lasted like around 25 years to actually have a recovery. If I had that same mindset, the idea is if we do experience a crash and it takes a very long time to recover, if you do end up selling to buy that home, the big problem is, for example, you're probably going to sell at a massive loss. And if you do end up selling, for example, your investments that are, for example, going to be most likely going to be from your brokerage account, your taxable account, that's going to be
Yeah.
a bunch of tax gains, right? A bunch of capital gains. So that's also a problem. So what I would recommend is, right, what I do is I invested 20% into my retirement account. It sounds crazy because I hear you and I see myself, because you're thinking about, I want to maximize everything. There's different ways to go about it to make sure that you're
Yeah,
safe and everything's fine.
Yeah, I was just thinking that once it gets big enough, I'll just be
Mhm.
able to, if I want to buy a house, I can grab it, and if I don't, I don't have to.
Yeah. So look, you're 33 years old now. What's the average home price in your area right now?
Oh, dude, in Southern California, it's like probably like 700,000 for just
Okay.
a 1,600 square foot house.
And your job, are you doing it from home right now?
No, we're working in the office, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. So look.
No, because that was if we got to work from home, I was moving to Texas immediately.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I agree.
I-
But also,
but
right? Look, you gotta have an exit strategy. I like you a lot, man. So shout out to you. But Brett, you have to have an exit strategy, right? Because this job is awesome, but doesn't mean you have to work it for the rest of your life. It doesn't mean you have to stay there.
Yeah.
Potentially, you could just switch over to another state and just get to your goal a lot faster. So that means, for example, if I'm you, I'm 33 years old, I make $100,000 a year, I'm maxing out my retirement accounts, and I'm also investing money into my brokerage accounts. I want to invest. I have no debt. I have an emergency fund. I have no home. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna only invest 20%. The rest of my
Okay.
money, I'm gonna start putting aside in cash. and consider, for example, because right now, remember, right now you already have like 230 in your investments. So if you start, if you consider, for example, let's say a year from now, 2 years from now, you leave that job, you'll probably have like $300,000 in there. And if you roll that over, for example, into the Roth, well, first of all, traditional, then the Roth, that's $300,000 in there. And after 5 years, if you follow, for example, the 4% withdrawal rule, that's around $12,000 in income every single year, right?
Correct.
So that's $1,000. Now, by that point, since you've been saving like almost like probably like 30-50% of your income, because you probably don't spend that much money, you sound like a very frugal guy, you're able to grab that money, potentially buy a property outright, and then you're basically done with the mortgage. So now you're able to take either a job that pays you the same amount of money or less money, but the passive income plus whatever job you basically get, it'll make you enough money to cover all your bases, because your mortgage costs or your rent costs, shelter costs, will be zero, except for the maintenance and the insurance, obviously. Make sense?
Yeah, I had another question because I was going to buy a house this year, but I backed off. How do you mentally part ways with a lot of money that you invested to put it into real estate?
You're not parting ways. The money's still there. So here's the big thing,
It
right?
it felt like it was going away.
The big problem is, right, with real estate right now, like is kind of crazy. But over the long term, just like with the stock market, we know that usually real estate just appreciates in value, right?
Correct.
Over long term. But if you buy right now, here is a rule I follow to keep my budget sane. So for example, if I'm making $100,000 a year, is that after taxes, by the way, or before taxes?
That's before taxes.
Before taxes. So let's say, for example, you get to keep 80% of that. Let's say you make around $80,000, right? And by the way, congratulations. The average millionaire, and often, does not make more than $100K per year. And you seem to have like a millionaire mindset, so you're able to get there a lot faster. But divided by 12, that's around $6,666. Now, what I follow when I'm going to buy a property is I follow the 33% rule on a 15-year mortgage. Why? Because the goal is to pay it off. I'm not worried about getting interest benefits on my taxes and all that stuff. I'm trying to pay this thing off so I can basically get financial freedom as fast as possible. Now, if I make $6,000 a month, multiplied by 33%, that means my budget is $2,200 on a $1,500 mortgage, on a $1,500  15-year mortgage. Well, that includes, for example, the maintenance, the taxes, the insurance, HOA fee, and also everything else included with this property. So, if I go on Google right now, just so I can give you the full picture here, go on Google and you type in mortgage calculator. It's the one by Bankrate. I'm gonna cut over to the live to show everybody here. So this right here is the calculator, and I say, yo, I'm trying to get a 15-year mortgage, and my budget, for example, I'm gonna put down 20%, and my budget is $2,200. That gives me like a property that's worth around $347,000, meaning that right now you can't afford a home in California if they're going for like that much money.
I could afford a $400,000 condo if I put $100,000 down. Is that not a good decision though?
When I think about personally, right, if you want a condo, that's fine. But when I think about buying a property, I don't think about buying a condo and then having somebody else.
I don't either. But I also don't know about.
But you also don't know where you're gonna be 7 years from now, right? If 7 years from now, you can still have that money there. You could be living in Florida or, for example, wherever it is. That's why I say, right, let's just go, because I want to help you out the most, right? So you go on Google also, and you type in rent versus buy calculator, right? I think NetWallet, what is it called, NerdWallet has one. If the average home value in, let's just say, California is, that's not there, that sucks. Let's just say Bronx. Give me a second here, Brett. We build this while we fly, so everything is live.
Yeah.
All right, so
I totally understand.
Let's say, for example, it is $400,000, and you put down $100,000, which is crazy. And you get a 15-year mortgage also. And what's your rent right now?
Right now, I pay $1,300. Very reasonable, and I'm just lucky that I've been renting for a while because the market rent in where I live is like $2,100.
Yeah. So look, right, what it says is basically with this calculator, if you're putting down that much money, renting is cheaper than buying in the next 3 years, basically. For the next 3 years, you're covered. But if you're just going to put down, for example, like a 20% like a normal person, the number becomes now, let me see here. Let me see. Okay, break even is right here. So if you stay in your home for 22 years, buying is cheaper than renting. For 22 years, bro. Right? So I'm not, if you stay in your home for 21 years, rent, yes, look, for 21 years, if you literally stay at that price, renting is cheaper than actually buying a property for that price.
Yeah, but this is a unique situation where I don't expect, with all the rent going up, I don't expect the landlords to keep doing the same rent. I've been renting like this for 5 years.
So let's say he raises it up to $2,200, right? That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the market rent. Like the unit next door rented me for that price, and I'm paying 13.
You have a 2-bedroom or 1-bedroom?
I have a 2-bedroom, but the only thing I do, and I don't know if it's risky on my part.
Yeah.
Is it risky to pay for a prepay for a rent for a year up front?
It's not risky. I have that problem
like,
too, where
can
sometimes
I
I just want to get rid of things like that. But
yeah, I just feel like I have a little bit more leverage when I do that.
What, he negotiates it? He negotiates with you?
Yeah, well, I just pay him once every year for rent because I just want to get it done, and I feel like I get the best price that way.
How much cash do you have on hand right now?
About 40 grand.
Yeah, so I mean, potentially, if that's giving you leverage, you could say like, yo, let me pay you for next year's rent or whatever, right?
Yeah,
that's a
usually I do that.
Yeah, and that gives you more leverage to kind of like hold off. But my idea is, if I'm you, man, I'm saying if I'm you, if I'm in your shoes, I'm not buying no condo for $400,000.
Okay.
I'm thinking about, for example, if I'm at this job making this much money, again, if you're just investing 20%, which is $80,000 multiplied by 20%, that's only $16,000, which basically means you should have an extra now of around $21,500 plus whatever savings you're actually doing, plus your $40,000, which basically means at the end of every single year, let's say you save like $40,000 plus your $40,000. In the next like 5 years, this year you have $80,000. Next 5 years you'll have multiplied by 5, you have like $200,000 plus 80. You have 280. And if you say, yo, I want to quit this job, or I want to go somewhere else and get another job, you have 280 to just go buy a property in cash, like a real property. You know, like you, it's like a single family home where it's not like somebody's on top of you, below you, and this and that. Because you know what I'm saying? Most people buy a property, stay there for 5 years, which is fine, by the way. But when I'm buying my first property and I plan on staying there for like the next 5-10 years, me personally, I just don't see myself in a condo. If you see yourself in a condo,
I can't. The only reason I would consider it is just to keep my mortgage low and not wanting to commit to a $750,000 house.
Yeah, but I mean,
and
if you commit to this $400,000 condo, and let's say we have like a little crash or whatever, it's a lot of money for a condo, man. Probably like a 3-bedroom too, like some trash stuff in California.
No, it's a 2-bedroom, like 1,100 square feet. This is Southern California, man.
Oh my gosh! Shout out to
with
America,
a pretty
man.
high HOA, but I mean, it's just the market over here. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, but again, look, you have a good problem. So this means here's a solution that I've came up. If I were you in your situation, I'm gonna continue everything I'm doing, except I'm gonna go ahead and reduce my investments. I'm gonna put the excess of money that I currently have in a separate account and call it, for example, home savings. Once you have, for example, a certain amount of money in there, again, you're still investing more than the average person. So in the next 5 years or 4 years or 3 years, you'll have a good amount of money. And in the next few months, right, we have an excessive amount of labor available and not enough people to actually go ahead and take the labor. So if you can find another job, if it's in Texas or Florida, with this amount of money, you're able to go ahead and buy a property, boom, you're done paying it off in like 5 years or whatever. Okay, no mortgage, utilities, I have my groceries, I have my car is fully paid off or whatever. You can just live the life you want to live. And I also have $12,000 coming in passive income every single year, and you get to keep that, building it up and building it up and building it up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. No, I knew that I had to slow my investing down. I just didn't want to hear it.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it either when I first saw the math, but Because I thought the same thing. Well, I can just grab this money and basically just go ahead and buy this property when I'm ready. Well, what if it crashes? Or what if I have like this massive gain
Yeah,
and
because
then I got to
I
sell?
was looking at like 2008, 9 when the market crashed. The real estate was like 30
No,
cents
no, no,
on
no,
the
no,
dollar.
no,
So I
no,
was
no.
like,
No, you have to remember, right? The reason we had the 2008 crash was because it was involved with real estate too, right?
Okay.
It was more like the real estate market ended up crashing like the stock market at the same time. If you look back to 1929, like the whole the whole tech bubble or the tech crash, whatever you want to call it, is completely different.
Yeah.
Usually real estate and the stock market are very different. That's why you have such different investors, right?
yeah, correct.
That's what I would do, brother. You're in a good spot, so be patient. And one thing I'll tell you, okay, when you do have all this money, you sound just like me. You'll start to get impatient and be like, I need to use this money ASAP. No, you have a purpose for this money, so just wait until the time is right, and then you buy what you need to buy with it. Make sense?
Yeah, that was that was
Yeah.
part of the problem. I was saving up a lot of money, and I didn't want to. I just threw it all in the S&P 500. I was like, you know what, this is a waste of time.
Yeah, exactly. Just be patient. Just be patient. Put that money on the side, save it up. In 3 years, whether you're in Texas or Florida or Las Vegas, whatever it is, you're able to buy a property for cash. And since you do have, you're 33 years old, you have a lot of experience in all this stuff, you're just able to just get a job. Whether you get like a pay cut, doesn't matter because your bills are so low by that point. Does that make sense?
That is correct. Yeah.
And remember,
All right.
right,
Thanks for everything you do, man. I really
before I-
appreciate your channel
before I
and
leave
everything
you,
and everything
before I leave
you
you,
do.
Brett, remember, right? Life is health, wealth, love, and happiness. You got the wealth part down. Don't forget about the health part, the love part, and the happiness part, okay?
All right, man. Thanks a lot, man.
All right. Welcome to the Long Term Team. Peace out. Nice to hear from you, brother.
All right, man. Bye.
All right, bye. All right, guys. So that right there was Brett. And what a great problem to have. Tommy, I have too much money. What do I do? That is a great problem, right? I love those problems. But overall, sometimes people tend to complicate things a lot. Imagine making that much money, having that much money, and thinking about locking yourself into this crazy condo or whatever it is. That's why it's so important you get sometimes a different perspective to see a different point of view. This guy can be done with this whole game in the next 5 years. Now you're 38 years old, paid for home, a lot of money in your investment account. You still have a job that you actually enjoy. Listen to him, right? Brett is like, oh, Tommy, I love my job. I don't want to leave my job. You know what I mean? So that's awesome. That's what you kind of want, right? You want to have a job that you actually like. That's what I talk about, guys, okay? I'm going to go ahead and leave my number open if you guys want to call me. But I see some questions over here. Don't go to Fort Walton Beach, Florida. That's expensive as hell. No, it's going to go to Fort Myers. Fort Myers. It's so cheap. There's only old people over there. Fort Myers I was going to go to. It was cool. But Puerto Rico is nicer, you know, saves me a lot more money. I really like Puerto Rico. Okay, all of Florida is expensive. No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. When you come from New York, it's like, okay, let me tell you this, guys, okay? When I came to Puerto Rico, people were like, oh, this is so expensive. And I was like, are they serious? This is so cheap, you right? Because you're coming from New York, like one of the most expensive places ever. So whenever you come, for example, one of the expensive places, like everything is just relatively cheap compared to your income. So like people told me, Tommy, you're paying way too much money for this apartment. I pay $725 for a 3-bedroom apartment, right? To me, that's like, what? That's not a lot. That's why I like VOO. The expense ratio is only 0.03%. Elizabeth, the problem is that when you have, for example, an employer, they can have like these trash funds and you have no control over them. So that's why he has to talk to his employer to try to figure this thing out. Marcel, hey Tommy, what are your thoughts on Graham Stephan's Yoda bank account app? It's like the gambling thing, right? I made a video about it. So look up Tommy, Bryson, Yoda. If I remember correctly, I don't know the changes they're basically made, but I'm not interested in that, you know? So if you want to do it with your emergency fund and just have that money there, that's fine. But the whole like gambling thing, it's more like a cool feature. You might call it a gimmick or whatever, but my thing is I wouldn't go over there and try to put in like $100,000 or more money just like get the chance to win something. I'm not doing that. So my thing is, if you want to play that game, just put your emergency fund in there because it is an FDIC insured bank account. That's what I checked, and it's basically secured and you have no risk, right? So just put that money in there. If you gain some extra money, that's fine. But I say emergency money because basically emergency money doesn't need to make you money anyhow, so it doesn't matter. By the way, we got 6 people here and we got 13 likes. That means the engagement is on fire today. Okay, here's a question from Amir. By the way, guys, this right here is, where is it? Over here. My bad. This right here is my number, so go ahead and call me right here, right now. Okay, call me if you guys have questions. That way I can actually basically answer your questions if you guys actually want to. Okay, is it okay to invest with your disability checks? It's not okay. More than often when I hear this question, Tommy, I'm unemployed, Tommy, I'm hurt, got disability, should I invest that money? Usually the answer is no. I don't recommend it, because you gotta have all the steps, right? So make sure you're debt free, make sure you have an emergency fund, and then if you want to invest, that's great. But if you can get, for example, a better skill, if you're on disability, like I know, a lot of people, for example, they're in disability, but most of the time it's like for like intense labor work. So there are a lot of jobs out there that don't require, for example, any like you walking anymore or anything crazy. So I would work on investing that money towards a skill to earn me more money. Usually that's going to be the best investment. The only time I recommend investing is when you have excess money to actually go ahead and invest once you get hold and control over your money. But when you're broke or disability, or for example on unemployment, no. Invest, get your emergency fund, obviously, pay off your debts. Most importantly, get a skill to earn you more money. That's usually going to be my response. I understand, yeah. Mine is through an individual brokerage, so it isn't attached or controlled by an employer. That is awesome, Elizabeth. That's awesome. Not everyone gets that chance, so that's why you end up paying 2%. And if you're dumb, well, if you're ignorant, I should say, you just don't know, right? You just don't know, so it's no big deal. But once you become self-aware of it, right, and you're like, yo, this is a problem, you would be dumb not to try to get out of it. Because 2%, if I make 8%, I'm giving you 2% for doing nothing, I'm not interested. I'm not interested at all. Thanks for the information. No problem. That is what I'm here for. So guys, that's my phone number. If you get, where is it? I keep forgetting what this thing is. Right here, right? Yeah, right here. That's my phone number. Give me a call right now if you guys want to talk to me one-on-one. Feel free to do so. I'm gonna open up. Hey Tommy, I've been learning the basics of software engineering for a few weeks now. Awesome. It is all about improving your skills, Simply Shy. And I was wondering, should I start a freelance to gain experience and maybe build a service business similar to what you did with your accounting skills? Any tips? The answer is yeah. One of the best ways to cement information in your mind is through practice and writing, and also like visual, right? So one thing is to learn. Oh my gosh, I took this test, I learned. But one thing is to actually put those things in action and help someone and solve their problems. It's a whole different deal. So if I was doing software engineering, I was just getting started, and I was able to kind of just get started and help somebody out with like simple programs or whatever it is, I would. Okay, the more experience you get, the better it is. Also, internships are going to be solid. We got 8 people in here. Shout out to everybody in here. I think we got Elizabeth, we got Michelle, we got Simply Shy, we got Richie. We got a few people here. If you guys want to call me and talk to me one-on-one, my number is there. If you guys have questions, the chat is there. But today is Friday. The whole point is to answer questions. If you want to join me on the Zoom, I'm gonna go ahead and share the Zoom link again. This Zoom link is where's the Zoom stuff? I can't find the Zoom stuff. Where is it? I think, okay, here it is. Here it is up here. So the Zoom link is it there? Did I post a Zoom link? I don't remember posting the Zoom link. So I think I posted the Zoom link. I'm not sure. I don't think I did. So I'm gonna share the Zoom link again. Did I already share it? I think I did. So that's the Zoom link right there. If you want to join me on Zoom, my number is here. So if you guys want to call me, the chat is there. And again, as always, if you guys have no more questions, I'm about to be out. Okay. The whole goal here is to come on here on Fridays and help you guys out with all your questions and whatever you're actually going through. Or just, for example, simple updates. If you guys have an update or something like that, that's what I'm here for. So let me see. Is everything good? Yeah. So no one's joining the Zoom just yet. No calls on the number. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a mini break, and I will be back in the next 2 minutes. In the next 2 minutes, if we have questions, I'm staying. If we have no questions, then I'm leaving. So I'm gonna go ahead and go on break real quick. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and cut to the break. Let's go ahead. And we are back from our little break, guys. Okay, so I'm seeing no questions in the chat, so that must mean I did a great job today. Any questions though, guys? Okay, remember, starting next week, I will not be on Monday to Friday. I will only be on, for example, on Fridays. Okay, so that means if you guys have questions, you guys won't see me again live until Friday. But you guys know, like, schedule a call and talk to me one-on-one. That's always fine, by the way. But to see me and talk to me live is only going to be just on Friday. So if you guys want to call me, my number is there. If you guys want to join me on the Zoom, my Zoom is there. However, if we are done here, that is also fine. Guys, go ahead and leave a like on this live. I appreciate it a ton. As always, it helps a lot. It helps us keep going. So love you guys so much. Again, I'm kind of saying bye, but I'm saying like talk if you guys have questions, because I'm not gonna be back until Friday. I have the opportunity to get, okay, so this is from Simply Shy. I have the opportunity to get a CS degree online with Walmart free education program, but software engineering doesn't require a CS degree. Should I still get the CS degree just in case? No. Just because something's free doesn't mean it's worth it, right? If it doesn't help you get what you need to get, then just don't do it. This means, for example, my fiance was gonna go into this program over at this unnamed college, and they were gonna give her like a whole bunch of different licenses that she's not going to need whatsoever to become a nurse. And I was like, for what? What are you gonna do that for? It doesn't make any sense, right? So if it doesn't make sense, don't do it. Get what you basically need and don't procrastinate on it. If you have so much free time, then spend that time, for example, practicing your craft or get another job to earn you more money, right? But don't spend time doing things that basically give you no results. It makes no sense, right? That's a big thing we tend to do. We have free time, so we kind of want to spend it doing things we don't need to do just because they're basically free. Don't do that. So if I'm going to get a CS degree and it's not what I need, not going to get what I'm going to get, I'm going to focus on getting basically my degree and what I need to get my degree in, and basically work towards that and not waste time in anything else or my energy. All right, we got a question from N. Hey Tommy, I was wondering what your opinion is on investing in Chinese stocks given the lower price due to the tech crackdown. Do you think it's affected will be short term? The answer is, whenever you want to do individual stock picking, which is not what I do, you want to read the book called Security and Analysis by Benjamin Graham and David Dodd. Those two made a great book on analyzing securities. One of the biggest things, for example, on investing into stocks overseas was basically regulations are not the same as, for example, in the US. So you might have a lot of lies, for example, but you know, these days things have changed a lot. So you're able to actually go ahead and invest in those companies. But overall, it's always simple. I don't make short-term decisions based on short-term things actually happening, right? I make long-term decisions. So if I was to be, for example, investing into individual stocks, what I'm going to do, for example, is evaluate that stock. Look at the balance sheet, the cash flow statement, the income statement, the 10K form, or whatever they actually have over there, the 10Q form. Look up everything about this company. And then if I invest into it, I invest into it because basically it's a good company. I'm buying for a discount. I have a margin of safety. It also has a competitive edge. That's what I'm doing. But I'm not investing because basically, hey, I think that the market crashed, so I'm going to go ahead and invest money. What if the market crashed and it basically just leveled the company to its real price, or it's still overvalued? How do you know that? You got to know how to target a stock, right? It's very important. Elizabeth, I see a question here. My glasses, I think they're dirty. A question here from Elizabeth. By the way, shout out to Elizabeth. I see a lot of questions from you. Appreciate them a lot, okay? You think I'm doing you a favor? You're doing me a favor, because I love talking. I do individual stocks as well. What are your thoughts on Strip IPO? Could it be the next Square stock? Great question. The answer is, Warren Buffett says, if you're going to be investing into an IPO, usually it's a stupid idea because there are so many other things out there that can be, for example, a better investment. Why does he say that? Because basically, an IPO is the single most expensive, usually, security ever, right? Because everyone out there is trying to push it and sell it to you, whether it's the brokers, whether it's the CEOs, or whatever it is, because they basically want to cash out or whatever it is. So usually IPOs are not supposed to be invested into most of the time, according to Warren Buffett. And again, if you are investing into individual stocks and you're asking me these questions, the answer is you're probably not supposed to be investing into individual stocks. You're supposed to be able to fully comprehend them and not judge them based on, for example, just, hey, it might be the next Square, might be the next PayPal. That's not what you're doing. You're using your analytical skills to basically give yourself a real tangible estimate of what this stock is basically worth. And then you invest based on that. Usually IPOs are a no-go for investing. Everyone is trying to push it. You know, and the big example is, for example, well, Tommy, if I bought Apple or Tesla or Amazon when it was like an IPO, I could make a lot of money. But again, you know, a lot of companies go bankrupt, okay? In the whole stock market, 80% of the whole stock market as a whole is attributed to 20% of the companies. That's why we have, for example, the S&P 500, because those 500 largest companies give up, for example, the 80% of all the outputs of the stock market, because they're that big and that large. So that's my answer to that. I don't play those games. Tommy, to cancel my fixed index annuity, they will charge me 8.25% of the $100,000, not 5%. The answer is, this is an $8,250 problem. Because, Michelle, you are so frugal, I would not be afraid, again, if I were you, to just save for this and pay this. Because I know for a fact, by me investing this money my own way, I can make, for example, a lot more money. Just like yesterday, we did the math and we ran the numbers, okay? It's not like a $8,000, for example, problem. It's basically going to cost you a lot of money. And by the way, what are the fees here, okay? Because one thing I forgot to ask you yesterday, Michelle, was that, you know, that you talk about, for example, guaranteed is 5%, but it has no cap. But what are the fees? How much money do they take, like, to manage this whole portfolio, whatever it is? That's something that I'm curious about. Simply Shy. Oh, no. Elizabeth. Yeah, I've never invested into an IPO. I was just curious because I hear people talking. Yeah, so in it is a no-brainer. Yeah, so look, when you're an investor, crazy story here. This is why I read so much, because it gives me like a lot of files in my brain. Warren Buffett, when he was going to invest into Geico, a lot of people told him not to. And he was like, I know what I'm doing, so I'm going to go ahead and invest into it. So if you know what you're doing, Elizabeth, and I tell you this stuff and you're like, I know what I'm doing, then by all means, go ahead and do it. But if you don't know what you're doing and you know you don't know what you're doing, then don't do it. Simply Shy. Okay, thanks a lot, Tommy. Also, unrelated, couldn't help but notice the Funko Pops in all of your videos. What's your favorite anime slash manga? My favorite anime of all time is probably like Dragon Ball Z. I like the Death Note anime. It's pretty awesome. That's why I always have them there. Yeah, my fiance wanted to take them, but I said no. I used to watch a lot of anime, and I used to watch it in a very unhealthy fashion. Like I used to watch a lot of TV. These days, I watch TV maybe on the weekends. You know, I watch a lot of YouTube though, which is like a bad thing, but I'm not doing it that often anymore. So that's awesome. Try not to distract yourself too much with that nonsense. It's good, like to help yourself have balance, but make sure that you're good. They will charge me 0.95% to guarantee rate of 5%. That's not to say that it's that expensive, honestly, but it's kind of expensive. Because you know what am I paying right now? Just for context here, so I can tell you exactly what my expense ratio is right now, just so you know, because I like to give real numbers, not like made up numbers. So I'm gonna go over here on my M1 Finance account. The problem is whenever I try to show it here, it doesn't show. But on my entire ACORNs, my expense it's kind of crazy. Can you see, guys? Can you see that? Wait, hold up. Can you see that? Let me go over to yeah, I think you guys can see that, right? You guys can see that right here. You see that? My expense ratio is 0.07%. So I pay a lot less than you do, right? That's the whole point. So again, I personally would rather pay these people this $8,000, get my money back, invest it the correct way over the next 3 years, and have that money make me around $10,000 per year on average, right? Or $8,000 per year on average. But only take out, for example, the $4,000 and have that money keep growing and growing and growing and growing. You know, in the short term, it might sound like you're gonna hurt you, but in reality, since you're only 52 years old, in the next, for example, 2-3 years, that's when you're gonna see the big difference and the big gains. Okay, that's the big thing, and you don't have to wait for anything. And by the way, that 5%, right? Is it, for example, is it like do they allow the money to compound, or they just basically give you whatever it is? You know, that's also a big question. I just wouldn't do it, Michelle. And with the large increase in inflation this year, what steps have you taken, will you take to avoid its effect? Do you hold any gold or other precious metals? The answer is no. I try my best not to pay attention to things that I can't basically control. I can't control the inflation because I don't control the Fed rate. So I'm not going to make short-term decisions, again, based on what's happening right now. So the only money I hold in cash is money for things I'm going to be buying, for example, next year or two, right? Like my home. And also, for example, my emergency fund. I don't need to protect anything from inflation because basically that cash is going to be used very, very soon, right? And my emergency fund is, if it goes, for example, where inflation just runs rampant, I'll just adjust it for inflation at the end of the year. That's basically about it. It's really that simple. And my investments, well, they keep up with inflation, right? Well, not keep up, they actually surpass inflation, so I'm constantly making money there. So just to review here, right? I don't put money into precious metals. I invest my money, for example, into equities, right? So securities like ETFs or index funds. My ETFs, by the way, are based on index funds. So just basically index funds overall. That makes me 8-10%. That's what I invest my money into. And that's it. That's it. So my emergency fund, if you have, for example, inflation running rampant, I'll adjust it for inflation. I'll put in more money into it at the end of the year. My cash that I have on hand, that cash is just to buy a home next year. And the odds of inflation being like double digits is very far-fetched, most likely. Thank you for your advice, Tommy. Always, Michelle. That is what I'm here for. Guys, thank you guys so much for these questions. I appreciate them a ton. I still have time. I still have 8 minutes with you guys. So if you guys want to comment more in the chat, feel free to do so because that's what I'm here for. If you guys don't want to call me, the number is there. That's my number. Go ahead and call me directly. If you want to join me on the Zoom, join me on the Zoom. I'll give you guys like 30 seconds. I'll wait for more questions. If there are no more questions, I'm going to start saying my goodbyes. And by the way, guys, a big thing is, if you guys notice, right, I don't make content around used like salacious things like, oh, the market is crashing or this happening. Because I don't want to spark anything crazy, you know. Maybe sometimes I might and I will in the future or whatever, but I'm always trying to give like real advice, you know. I'm not trying to tell you, well, inflation's running rampant, so go ahead and buy gold and go ahead and do this, right? Because again, you can't worry about all these short things, like short-term problems, okay? When you're investing like the long-term team, we are investing for the next like 10 years, you know. So inflation being bad today doesn't matter in the next 10 years or 20 years. And if America kind of sinks and goes below whatever, our money doesn't matter anymore, you know. It's about being realistic. That's why the plan says, hey, get your freedom first before you start worrying about investing and all of these other crazy things, okay? That's the whole concept. Guys, that's my part there. Again, thank you guys so much for joining me on today's live. I love you guys so much. Michelle, Elizabeth, Simply Shy, Shabu, and we have also Troy was here, Robin was here, Daniel was here. We had a lot of more people here today, honestly, right? That was pretty cool. And also, lastly, Marcel was one of the first here. So shout out to every single one of you. And again, if you're new here, welcome to the long team. If you're old here, you guys already know, long team for the win. Love you guys so much. As always, thank you guys a ton. I'll see you guys on Friday. Remember me, right? Don't come here on the week Monday to Thursday looking for me here. I won't be here, okay? Come on Friday for the live. However, always, okay, turn notifications on this channel, because basically we will have videos being posted on this channel, obviously, but we only have lives, for example, just on Fridays. See you guys on Friday. Thanks for watching. As always, peace.